Back in 2011, a new line from Tamashii Nations was born, and it was called S.H.MonsterArts. This line was almost any Godzilla collector's wet dream. Highly detailed representations of the kaiju we all know and love today, and their highly posable tools to recreate famous scenes. Holy shit! Yep, sounded pretty awesome, right? We got such monsters like Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, Gigan, Destroyer, and many more. It was almost too good to be true. Everything about this line seemed near perfect. Sure, there were a few duds, but for the most part, it was great. But then, what happened? Ever since the first major screw-up in the line, hintity hint hint 2014, brand new sculpts seem to have something wrong with them. What's not fair is that for some reason we're ending up having to pay more for new releases that will most definitely have a consistent quality control issue of some kind. Hell, sometimes it's not the new sculpts, rarely it's the repaints. Not anymore, thanks Ultimate BG. Not just minor flaws, most of the time, it's major flaws that ruin the whole figure. I understand that there are some people who really don't care about the flaws of some of the figures and just love them anyway, so if that's the case, that is perfectly okay. But for me, I've been collecting this line ever since 2013, and let me tell you, some of these figures did not make me happy. But where are my matters? What is up, people YouTube? It is I, Super Mario Zilla, or you can call me Vinny, and today, I ain't gonna leave a stone unturned. I'm gonna go over what is making SH.MonsterArts go downhill. So this is, yes, my special video about SH.MonsterArts. Before I begin, I should point out that some of the things that I and other people in the video are gonna say are our personal opinion. And some of the other things what we're gonna say are fact. Without further ado, let's go back to the very beginning of the line and work our way up to the situation the line is currently facing. So here we have the one that started it all, Godzilla 1994, even though on the box it's simply called Godzilla. Probably because it's the first release in the line, and knowing how popular the SHFiguarts line is, and since it was being made by Bandai and Tamashii Nations, there was almost no way this figure was going to be terrible in any way, right? Well, here it is, and wow. Huh. Limited articulation in the legs, tail can't hold a pose after a while, eyes are derped, the paint is not as good as the prototype, but still looks nice, and wow, it comes with a beam effect accessory? This is cool! You had to give it the benefit of the doubt knowing that this is technically the first ever release in the line, and at the very least it wasn't horrible. In fact, almost everyone loved it, so it was a pretty good start. So the first release in the line turned out to be a good one. A month later, it was getting better. Because next month we got Mechagodzilla 1993 to go along with Godzilla. Now you can recreate famous battle scenes. Mechagodzilla 93 comes with his Mega Buster, alternate hands, alternate tail, and alternate neck piece to recreate flying mode. Not to mention, he also comes with his plasma grenade launcher stomach piece. Articulation is a tiny bit more limited compared to Godzilla's, but for MG93, it's still pretty solid. In fact, the range of movement is a hell of a lot better. So we could get some more awesome dynamic poses. So needless to say, Mechagodzilla 93 is again a great one. Two more figures were on the way. These figures are Space Godzilla and Mogira. While waiting for Space Godzilla, we got two accessory sets to go with our Godzilla and Mechagodzilla figures. These were the Toho Ultimate Weapon Set and the Garuda. The Toho Ultimate Weapon Set comes with 5 special weapon tanks, 5 maser tanks, 3 fighter jets, 3 special weapon planes, a reissue of Godzilla's Blue Beam, this time it's casted in a translucent orange plastic, and lastly, the Super X2. Now you can display Godzilla being attacked by G-Force, or have Godzilla blast them all away. Now let's talk about the Garuda. It comes with 2 plasma lasers, a G-Crusher, a stand, and an alternate back piece to stick the Garuda backpack on Mechagodzilla 2. Now you can display MG with the Garuda attacking Godzilla. Unfortunately, I don't have it. Oh! I know, that sucks, right? But you wanna know why? Look at these prices! These prices were not this high at release. Both these sets are actually the first web exclusives in the SH.MonsterArts line, but unlike Godzilla and MG, these sets were not officially released in the US by Bluefin. Oh well, I'll deal with it. Next, we saw the release of Space Godzilla. This was kind of expected since Godzilla he released here was the 1994 version, so this is awesome. When the figure came out, people complained that the figure did not look as good as the prototype. However, after people got the figure in hand, they said it was even better. In fact, some people argued that this is the best figure in the line. Surprising, right? The figure's articulation surpasses Godzilla's. The range of movement is kick-ass, especially if you want to get creative with the poses. Not to mention, sculpted paint apps are amazing too. Space Godzilla came with his Corona Beam and a crystal display base, perfect for displays or pics. Needless to say, this figure is fantastic. The figures could only get better from here. After Space Godzilla, we saw the release of Mogira. Mogira looked great. Mostly die-hard Godzilla fans would have bought it since Mogira isn't that popular compared to everyone else. But regardless of that, this figure is awesome. Articulation is not the best, but for Mogira, it's pretty good. You can still get some neat poses out of him. Sculpted paint apps are again really good on this guy. I mean, some colors are a bit inaccurate to the prototype, but it was still pretty good. Mogira also came with a crap ton of accessories. He came with accessories for his plasma cannon, alternate hand, which can be used for these spiral grenade effect parts, and building bases. He also comes with wingtips and alternate head for flight mode. People could argue that Mogira is the king of accessories in the line, so Mogira is another great one. The next release was Little Godzilla, which was another web exclusive, but thankfully was brought into the US for regular price. A figure not a lot of people cared for, but regardless of that, it was still a decent figure. By the time the final product came out, the colors were very different than what it was on the prototype. What a world of a difference, right? Regardless, the paint job was not bad. Sculpted paint was still pretty good. Articulation for him is not the best, but it's acceptable since it's Little Godzilla. The accessories he comes with are awesome, because they are crystals. So you can display him trapped in the crystals, or give them to Space Godzilla. So now we have the complete cast of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. So now you can literally recreate the movie. Possibilities with these figures are near endless. The next release was not an official release, but a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. This figure is known as the Comic-Con Explosion Godzilla. Since it's a SDCC exclusive, it's going to be hard to track down for obvious reasons. It's literally the same mold as Godzilla 94, but casted in a soft orange and yellow translucent plastic to represent him, well, exploding. It's not a figure we need, but it was cool. Unfortunately, I don't have this one either, so damn it. The next release was a prototype being teased, but later we got Fire Rodan. Like Little Godzilla, he is small but in scale with the other monsters. Articulation for Fire Rodan is, not the best, but, you know, it's for Rodan, so it's acceptable. Sculpted paint apps are once again really good, and his accessories are pretty damn awesome and complete our Godzilla Mechagodzilla figures. But let's go over Rodan's accessories first. He comes with 3 bases and 3 stands. The bases are really cool because one of them has an illustration that says Pteranodon Forever, Fire Rodan, and a sparkling base. And it came with his own flight stand to have him fly. And also comes with his uranium beam. So you can create kick-ass displays with this guy. The other accessories are for Godzilla and MG. First is a battle damage head for Mechagodzilla, which is used to recreate the scene where Rodan pecked him in the eye. And we also got the spiral ray for Godzilla. Now I gotta say, this is awesome. Now we can display all 3 of these guys together and recreate famous battle scenes. So Rodan is another great one. Next, we're gonna go over a figure that had a very major consistent issue. It was King Ghidorah, 1991. What was the issue? The wings. A lot of people have been reporting and receiving the figure broken because the wings snapped off. So Tamashii released a new batch with stronger wings. However, despite that didn't exactly ruin the figure. The figure's sculpted paint apps are once again spot on, and size is accurate. Look at how huge he is! Unfortunately, he was the first of SHMA to have a price of $125! I mean, when you think about it, it makes sense because of his size, the stuff that he comes with, and, you know. So there's really no reason to complain. Almost. The figure's articulation is pretty awesome considering the design, and his accessories are his gravity beams, which had a poor support system. They kept falling off, and they're just an overall pain in the ass to work with. So KG is not a perfect figure, but it's still pretty great despite the issues. The next release is another Godzilla. This time, it's the popular fan favorite, Burning Godzilla. Unfortunately, this one is a bit more expensive than the first Godzilla, most likely due to the new articulation engineering and the translucent plastic. When the figure came out, it does have a downgrade from the prototype, and that's the end of the tale. It doesn't have the range of movement advertised in the promo shots. Unfortunately, there are no beams that came with this figure. However, we still got accessories. We got 2 Mesa tanks that we used to freeze them, and we got 2 alternate hands, which are a major pain in the to put on. Despite the issues, the figure itself is awesome. The translucent orange is really nice to look at, and the range of movement with the articulation far surpasses that 94. And if you bought Fire Rodan or the first whole weapon set, you can use the beams for Burning Godzilla. So needless to say, Burning Godzilla is great. The next release, we got the evolution of Little Godzilla, Godzilla Jr. Jr. does not come with any beams either, which is unfortunate. But he comes with 2 helicopters and different types of helicopter blades. One where it's still and another one to make it look like it's moving. Jr. is actually size accurate with Godzilla for such a tiny figure, and sculpted paint apps are really fantastic on this figure. The articulation is great too, so you can put Jr. in all sorts of cool poses. Jr. is a little pricey compared to Little Godzilla, especially due to the size and the stuff it comes with. Despite that, Jr. is still a fantastic figure. Unfortunately, the next figure would show the S.H.MonsterArts was taking a small dark turn. The next figure that was released was the final form, Destroyer! Unfortunately, when he came out, there are some flaws. First of all, the eyes are not even the correct color. In the movie, they were yellow, but here they're a translucent dark red. So that's disappointing. Another thing is the chest paint. It doesn't look as good as the prototype. But really, this is only a minor issue and depends on preference. The major disappointment is that he came with nothing. That's right, no beams, no vehicles, absolutely nothing. This figure was $150 when it first came out. With that price, he should have come with something. It was probably because they didn't want to up the cost, but it still begs the question, why the heck didn't they include anything with them? Another thing people complained about is the fact that he's not at scale with 95. But people have found a way to remedy that, and despite that, they still displayed them together anyway. But despite all the flaws mentioned, the sculpt is phenomenal. And despite the minor paint issues and inaccuracies, the paint job is still really well done everywhere else. The articulation is not bad considering all the bulk that he has, and he's a pretty big figure, almost as big as King Ghidorah. So the actual quality of the figures has not gone down. So despite the disappointments, this figure is awesome. Some would argue it's one of the best in the line. Next is a set of figures. It's a set for the Destroyer forms under the name the Destroyer Evolution Set. The figures themselves, oh god. Very expensive for what you get. The crab form is pretty good with the sculpted paint, but the articulation sucks. I can understand the hands and tendrils, but the legs are questionable. The middle legs only move while the other ones don't, which severely limits posing. So basically, this is just a very tiny statue. Wow, it's an early MonsterArts Zero figure. The aggregate form is better, but the paint is not the best. I got issues right out of the box. The articulation is also not the best on this guy. It's kinda limited. Yes, even for this design. One cool thing is that the inner mouth can pop out to recreate this scene. However, it can't reach. See what I mean when I say limited articulation? Another issue is that the figure is undersized. Junior here is bigger. The aggregate form is supposed to be bigger, so how they messed that up, I have no idea. It also comes with this stupid accessory. This never happened in the movie, so I am not using this. It just looks dumb. The flying form is the best out of them all. Sculpted paint is good, articulation for this form is acceptable, and it's not bad. But it comes with no stand. Rodan, which is an earlier release, came with one, so what's this set's excuse? Yes, you can buy separate stands, but these sets are $15 to $20. And since the set is already expensive enough as it is, you're spending nearly $100 for a complete set, which is absolutely ridiculous. Needless to say, this is the first major low point in the S.H.MonsterArts line. In fact, this set sold rather poorly. Although the set kinda sucked for most people, certainly not the best, but not horrible either. The next figure is a little better. The next figure is the first ever Showa-era Godzilla figure. It was Godzilla 1964! Now, I personally love this figure. Other people say otherwise though. What's that, you may ask? Well, for one, the articulation in some places kind of ruined the sculpt. And there was also a giant gap on his back. And there was no way to close it. The paint though is pretty good, and the articulation is great too. He even has a toe joint. Not that movable, but still pretty cool. Unfortunately, once again, there are no accessories. Why? This figure is $65. That's pretty expensive for what you get. No accessories, and it's also pretty small. Okay, they said that they should have their own scale. That's bullshit, really? That's not fair. This really makes this price not worth it. Despite the flaws, I was personally still happy to get this figure. For the next figure, we got debatably the best monster art ever made. Kuryu, the 2002 version. Now this figure is fan-freaking-tastic. He comes with the gun backpack unit, 2 laser arm guns, 2 laser blades, and 3 eyepieces. One of them are red to recreate the scene where he's going out of control. That's right, he actually comes with all his weapons, no separate release BS like with the Garuda. Sculpted paint apps are also really good, and the articulation is far better than the previous Mechagodzilla. There are some limitations, but for the most part, he's pretty posable. Only problem, he doesn't come with a beam. However, it's only a minor issue when you think about it since he comes with the accessories that he would need. Needless to say, Kuryu is fantastic. The next release is also another great figure, Biolante. Now this figure was pretty expensive when it came out, costing a good $230. Damn. That probably had to do with the fact that she's a web exclusive, her size, and also her gimmick. Now this figure is huge! Sculpt once again is superb. Paint job is also pretty good. The articulation, at least for Biolante, is still very good. She scales good with the other monsters. A lot of people complained about the size. Well, we got to remember that she's 120 meters. In fact, she's actually the same size as Destroyer, who is the same size, 120 meters. We also got to remember that Godzilla 94 is 100 meters. BioGoji, the 89 suit, was 80 meters. So the size is understandable. She again comes with no accessories. Kind of. She has a gimmick. Her stomach can light up. All you need is 2 LR44 batteries, and you're all set. Her stomach can light up to 2 colors, yellow and red. Needless to say, this is perfect for any die-hard Godzilla and Biolante fans. She actually surprisingly sold out pretty quick compared to other releases. So if you want her now, good luck. Your better option is waiting for a repaint. The next release is the first ever Millennium Series Godzilla to come out. It was Godzilla 2000. However, people had problems with the figure from day one when the first prototype showed up. The design of the figure, people hated it because it wasn't the suit design. Instead, it was a concept design made from the sculptor Yuji Sakai himself. I myself would have also preferred the suit design, but that didn't make the figure bad. In fact, the figure itself is great. The sculpt, while not what everyone wanted, is still pretty cool. The paint job is also pretty good too. Articulation though has some limitations. He can't look up at all, and his waist movement is a bit limited compared to other Godzillas in the line. Despite that, it was still alright. He also scales nicely with Kuryu. Again, no accessories! Compared to other figures, this is pretty expensive what you get. This figure was $75, and it wasn't a web exclusive. Wow, what a ripoff. Well, if you look past it, the figure itself is great. Debatably the best Godzilla in the line. The figure itself sold out really quick. So again, if you want it, good luck. Because, yeah. The next figure to come out is another Heisei monster. This time, it's Batra. Now this figure, Well, Batra is something I would like to call a minor dud in the MonsterArts line. Batra's yellow paint on the wings are not good at all. Paint everywhere else is good though. Unfortunately, articulation also suffers with consistent QC issues. The abdomen is loose and loves to fall off. The legs are super loose and pop off real easily. On mine, they're not popping off, but believe me, they used to. Batra comes with one accessory and that's his flight stand. Yes, they actually gave him a flight stand this time. And let me tell you, it is not good. The clamp is molded in Batra's stomach shape. But once Batra is on the stand, you will notice he's not very secure. I guarantee you that one shelf dive will break the figure in no time. Oh shit! So, we get no beams, but a very insecure stand. Good job, Bandai. Now, Batra does have some redeeming qualities. Sculpt, once again, is beautiful. The paint on the body is really nice. Articulation, despite the loose joints, is still pretty good considering the design. He also scales nicely with Godzilla. So Batra is not the best, but certainly not the worst. Now back in 2014, we have 3 more figures on the way. Gigan, Mothra, and Godzilla 2014. Both Gigan and Mothra were released on the same month in April. So let's see Gigan first. Hey, now this figure is badass. Sculpt is stylized, but I personally think it works for Gigan, even though it's not accurate. The paint job is great too. Articulation for Gigan is also pretty solid. You can get him in some badass poses. And even recreate flying mode. He also goes nicely with the other Godzilla figures. His accessories are his chainsaw accessories, so he can become Chainsaw Gigan. More badass displays. Needless to say, Gigan is an excellent figure. One problem, and this is only minor, but his teeth are oversized. This causes the mouth not to close all the way. But really, this is a minor issue. At least for me. Gigan was pretty expensive when he first came out because he was priced at $95. Expensive price aside, Gigan turned out pretty nice. The next figure that was released in the same month was Mothra, the 1992 version from Godzilla vs. Mothra Battle for Earth. And holy hell, Mothra is a lot better than Batra. The sculpt, unsurprisingly, is marvelous, and the paint job is awesome too. This time, they didn't drop the ball with the wing paint. Her articulation has also been improved, so the posability, at least for Mothra, is great. She also goes good with Batra and Godzilla, so you can recreate some of the famous scenes. Mothra's accessory is again a flight stand, but this time it's much better. It's way more secure than Batra's, so Mothra will not be taking any possible shelf dives. I would have loved it if we got beams, but at least we got something good, I guess. Still though, Mothra is a great piece. The next release was another set of figures. It is the Mothra Batra Lover Pack. Only problem is again the price, because it was priced at a ridiculous $100! Jesus! At least the figures are good. Sculpt of both these figures are great, especially Batra. The paint job with both these figures are a hit or miss. I like them, but other people did not. The articulation for both these figures, considering the designs, are great. Again, we can recreate some pretty cool scenes. They scaled nicely with Godzilla as well. Mothra Larva gets her own accessory, her web, and a stand to have her look upright. Batra gets nothing. Really? Once again, we get really good figures, so these prove to be another great release. The next release is actually the line's first ever repaint. No, I'm not counting the San Diego Comic-Con Godzilla. It was Godzilla Adult Jr. That's right. They decided to make a figure of a Godzilla that only appeared a few seconds at the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Repaints are common with figure lines. Look at the Marvel Legends line. Despite that, Birth version is actually a great figure. Sculpt is the same as Burning Godzilla since this is a repaint. The repainted colors are very nice, and the articulation has more give than the original Burning G. Accessories are the same for the hands. He actually comes with, get this, his own beam! Look! Look at this, it looks awesome! The red actually looks like red this time. Yes! This looks badass on display. Only problem is that he's slightly out of scale with some of the other monsters, but really this is only a minor issue, at least for me. So Adult Jr. here is another great figure, despite it being a repaint. The next two releases are actually sets. The Godzilla Effects set and the Toho Ultimate Weapon Set 2. And these sets actually come with buildings. One set comes with 2 buildings, 1 Super X3, 3 planes, and 8 tanks. The other set came with 2 beams, 2 beam bases, 4 buildings, and 1 explosion piece. Using these sets with your figures can create the ultimate display. These are awesome effects. The buildings are awesome too. These go great with any of your figures in the line, or any other Godzilla figure in general. So these sets are amazing. However, this next figure would be the first ever downfall of the line.